Well, one expert on the food scene in Shanghai and China is Ann Bierbower, Operations Director at China Skinny, a marketing, research and digital agency. She joins us now live from Shanghai. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
Now, Ann, we hear a lot about eating healthy and changing consumer tastes. So what are we seeing in terms of the health food trend in China?
There's quite a big health food trend here in China, and it's been going on for a number of years, but recently it's really gained some traction. So at China Skinny, in our research, we've seen it across a number of different categories, from snacking and beverages to even health supplements and dining out. So you can see a number of new restaurants popping up. And it's not only the products and that people are looking for, where they're looking to dine, but it's also their interest in it as well. So monitoring a number of WeChat groups, we see people really interested in healthy living, healthy traveling, even vegan groups and vegetarian groups that are quite active.
Now, Ann, how is a growing middle class in China with more disposable income, how is that affecting food choices there?
The rising income is definitely helping Chinese consumers be able to purchase more premium and imported food. So obviously there's a lot more availability, but as Chinese are coming into the middle class more and more, they're looking to trade up to better products. And the interesting thing about China is across developing economies, as people get richer, usually their spend on food decreases. But in China, as people are becoming wealthier, that spending on food is still increasing, showing that people are willing to pay a premium for healthier, better food. And we see this as one of the top 3 categories Chinese consumers expect to spend more on this year is food and beverage.
Now, you mentioned some of the trends, like people becoming vegan. So what are the really major food trends in China that we should really keep a lookout for?
So a lot of the brands right now are using, the healthier standpoint, or organic, no additives. So right now it's rather it's rather general, but as we see it, it's going to diversify a lot. So Chinese are also becoming more educated and aware, so they're aware of what they're putting in their bodies, and they want to know more about their food sources and where it's coming from. But they're also learning more about the special ingredients that are in each food. So right now, it's still rather in the early days, as a lot of blanket statements are out there. But I think as this trend moves on, people will become a lot more educated and interested in different products. And the other thing there is that people are willing to try new things. So they're always looking for the newest thing, or maybe the next healthy product that they can try out. So it's quite an exciting time for the health food industry here, or even healthy food, just because there is a lot of education to be done, but it also means that you can help shape what people are eating here.
And speaking of trying different things, talk about the presence of cuisine, say, from the US, Europe, or Latin America in China. What are they doing to win the hearts and stomachs of Chinese consumers?
I would say for different cuisines, in Shanghai we're quite spoiled here, because we have a range of different restaurants and can almost get any kind of food that we're able to want at any time. So we're quite spoiled. But for Chinese consumers, I mean, they are quite curious and they're open for exploration. But I would also say that it's quite hard, because they're not likely to take those foods back home and cook them, but they may be more likely to go out to a restaurant. But trends often come and go quite quickly here in China. So it can be hard for that trend to hang on. So even if they're loving Latin food tomorrow, it may be gone the next week. And the other thing is that it's also quite regional as well. So what is hot in one area may not be hot in the other. So for example, in Beijing, there's more Russian culture there. So people are more used to that type of food. They also have heartier kitchens there, so they may be more familiar with different dishes. Whereas in Shanghai, it's very international, but the food tends to be sweeter for the Shanghainese food. And that's, of course, different to Middle China and Southern China. So appealing to the taste, I think, will be a large part of the success of different cuisines as well.
All right, thank you. We'll have to leave it there. Ann Bierbower, Operations Director at China Skinny.